Hello there, Qckslvrslash, and today I'm answering a subscriber request, and I believe they were requesting for some instruction on how to drive the Kamikaze. And I don't have the new Kamikaze, I have the old one. The Kamikaze are earned for gathering all those pearls in the kind of in-browser cross-game mission stream. But the ships are the same and the tactics are the same. So first, going to quickly dive into how I have it set up, then I'll get into some gameplay. So the captain, as you can see, pretty experienced captain. I've gone with basics of fire training, last stand, superintendent. I've got the health mod here, survivability expert, because this is actually a higher tier captain, and then concealment, because anytime you can hide your destroyer more is pretty much a good thing. As far as modules, not a lot to choose from. I've gone with main armament 1, aiming mod 1 just for the increase in torpedo tube traverse speed and the soft buffs to the guns, and then damage control 1 just to help mitigate some fires and floods. As far as modules, I should, if I'm not readied up, run premium damage party. Oh, don't want to spend gold on that. Premium smoke generator, and then just normal speed boost in my mind. The reason I run the smoke is to have 4 of them, and damage control I just always like to have on the ready. On the exterior of the ship, flags I would recommend. You've got to have Juliet Charlie. If you've got the flags, you run them. If you don't have them, you're eventually going to detonate and you'll have more of them. I'm also going to run speed boost, and then just because I'm trying to build up a bunch of free XP, put on some of the other flags here to just boost experience for my commander. But that's pretty much how I have her set up, so let's get into some gameplay. As you can see, I'm playing with Flying Goomba. He's bringing his Nikolai, but that ship's a bit of a beast. I don't think he'll have any trouble. Right into a battle, which is absolutely perfect. And I'm just going to start talking about a couple of the key things you always need to know when you're in a destroyer to really maximize your play. So right away, looking at the screen, you can see we're pretty lucky. I'm a big ship. Mostly a tier 4 game, couple tier 5s. First things I'm looking at, who are the destroyers on the other team? Is there a gunboat that completely outclasses me, like maybe 2 tier higher or something, you know, that can get close enough without me early spotting them to really surprise me and do damage? And in this case, Kamikaze, V170, they don't really scare me at all. Next, I'm just going to kind of start looking at the map where I am, and in this case, I'm going to head off to C. And the reason I'm going down there is not a lot of thinking. A lot of DDs I find try to go to B on this map, but I find a B like push very hit or miss. You're either going to get in there, kill the 1 or 2 DDs and cap it, or you're going to get blitzed early. So by going somewhere further out, you keep yourself in the game, and DDs really do well in the long game. You need the chance to throw a lot of torpedoes, so you don't want to get yourself in over your head. And a good example of this that I would just point out, because I see it all too often, is a destroyer that's not really looking at the map, kind of seeing where last known ships were heading, not predicting where someone's going to be coming from. Like when I get down to sea, I'm expecting people to be coming from these areas. It's just where they're going to be. And they come around a corner, they see a cruiser, and they go, oh no. They ink and pop smoke without even thinking for a half second that's a radar cruiser. So they're popping smoke, they come to a stop, the cruiser goes, dinner time, pushes a button, you're lit up like the 4th of July, and it's game over for you. So just something you really have to be conscious of in a DD is where other ships are. You've got speed, you've got concealment, use it. Another good example of that is when you spot another DD. Say you've got very similar detection ranges. If you're already turning out, don't fire your guns. Let them shoot the 1 or 2 times, get out of detection range. Because they've shot, they've blown their detection range way out, everyone can see them, you'll be spotting them, they'll take a bunch of friendly fire, and you can just laugh as you drive away, pretty much unharmed. So it's just another minor thing to think of. Like, just because you're instantly spotted doesn't mean you need to pull the trigger. However, there's situations that you need to just start shooting. You know, if you're hard spotted inside a range where you're not going to vanish in the next 3 or 4 seconds, just start putting your guns to use. Because otherwise you're robbing yourself of damage and you're just not doing well. So right now, I'm looking at the map. I see one of their DDs spotted. I don't see any of the others, so he could be down here, but C's not being capped yet. They look to be making a big push into B, but for the time being we're capturing it, at least until this Svetlana gets in. So the Svetlana was not over there, and those are all the things that just are continuously going through my head when I'm driving ships. And you've really got to get good at it. This map should pretty much be as big as it gets on your screen, because that's information. Your eyes out the window are the first tell, but reading this map, seeing what's happening, is next. And I can tell you, these two guys are probably about to murder each other in the top corner, and things are looking pretty good for me. I'm down to the bottom of this cap. I'm gonna throw some torpedoes at this Kohlberg. Now, granted, you know, 7k torps. The Kohlberg's at 8k, but if he suddenly decides to turn or does anything, there's a chance they give him a good scare. And with the reload I've got, you know, another 30 seconds, battleship reload time, I'm set. So beyond this, just being careful. My guns are disabled because I don't want to give myself up any more to these planes than I have to. And I'm just kind of making my way in the back. This Danae could prove troublesome because it's a British cruiser. It may be one of the low tier ones, but they're still deadly. So I'm looking at my map, kind of reading where they're going, where they're going to intersect my detection range, and just kind of making sure they never get inside of it. So unfortunately for me, it looks like they're coming straight at me, probably going to get in that detection range, and I'm just going to throw torpedoes. Once again, no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting them, because they're maneuvering. You're more likely to catch someone just off with a random torpedo than sitting there aiming for 10, 20, 30 seconds. You know, the term I use is luck chucking. And that's all I did with these. And, well, flipping through them, looks like luck's gonna pay off, gonna strike 2 torpedoes. And I get my first kill. So, you can kind of see how I did that. I saw the gray band moving, I put the torps into the water, kind of one about where it was, and because he was at about that 90-degree angle, I felt he's not going to be able to get any further forward than that. So that's where I put them, and then I just tried to fill the water between the edge of land and my last set so that if he turned, he may get into them. He ended up driving straight, as too many players do, and eating them. So I'm definitely right now conscious of where is their aircraft carrier. You know, he proves to be a big threat for destroyers because it's spotting. Now, I've been in a lot of games with a lot of carriers who refuse to use their aircraft to spot. They'll attack with their bombers and just send them back. They're like, I've got to reload. But those bombers with no bombs are often more effective than they are with them because they're quick, they can spot, and they can give up a destroyer. And right now, I'm looking at Goomba, looking at this Nikolai, I'm targeting him. And because we're not on voice comms right now so that I can narrate this, I'm using my keys. F3, I tag the ship I want my team to shoot at. It may seem, you know, like a minor thing, but doing it just draws so much fire, and you can see how many people are shooting this target. I haven't had to reveal myself by kind of just existing. You know, I was helping spot they were probably in range of Goomba. He does a great job there dodging a full torpedo set. And those are the things that you just gotta know. If you see a destroyer, you have to turn. So in a destroyer, if you think you have a battleship dead to rights, don't throw every single one of your torpedoes right down the gut. Aim. You know, put them in different spots because they're probably going to maneuver. Yeah, you give up that big kind of one hit, but you gain. So, got that Kamikaze there. I'm still detected. I'm no longer because the planes have broken, but I don't know where he is. I've really got no way to know where he is. So if I come around this corner, I'm pretty screwed. So I'm kind of just playing my bets here. I'm thinking about how long it's been, how far can this ship have possibly traveled? When should I see him in front of this edge of land if he went straight? And there it is. So I've got my engines full astern, and I'm shooting. He's busy messing with torpedoes. I'm already going back. He's not getting around the edge of this land. And he just wasted his peds. He's going to keep pushing around this corner at me, so I'm just going to keep backing up. I'm going to keep my bow more or less to him, so these pedos can't hit me, and just keep my guns firing. These ships have good guns. But I've had my rudder this direction for a while. I know he still has one set of torpedoes because he didn't fire them all, so I double my rudder back the other direction, get the ship swinging, just to make sure that all those shells miss me. Fire another volley off. Catch him, 660, he's on 1337 hit points, and well, my team's probably going to finish him off for me, which I've got no problem with. And just in case, there's a set of torpedoes for him to gobble down if he tries to charge Goomba. I'm going to just get in this cap because, to me, I put the torpedoes right into land. To me, this is what we need to control. This game has gone really well for our team, we've done well, but you'll notice I haven't given up a whole heck of a lot of hit points, yet I came up against a cruiser and another destroyer. I think this situation here, where I stopped behind the island and was just kind of counting in my head, if this guy's going full speed, 1001, 1002, how long until he comes out from that edge of land? And I'm trying to put myself in a spot where you could see I was just slowing down. So he probably just put all those torpedoes right onto the gray marker going, I've got this guy dead to rights. But I was already slowing down, anticipating what that guy was trying to do, and using that edge of land to protect me. And, so many people joke about it, but islands are your waifus. They are the thing that protects you in the cold, dark winter nights. And it's not so much that, you hide behind them. They give you superior sight lines. They allow you to control engagements. And I've got a Svetlana here. Put some torpedoes in, and I'm breaking off, because my threat right now, once again, if he drives straight, he's coming into my detection range, and I don't want that. I want to remain unspotted as long as possible, because my plan right now is to sneak up on this Myogi. Once again, keeping myself clear of the fighters, and just kind of peacefully driving. So, my biggest piece of advice, particularly as you get to higher tiers, or are in games with higher tiers, is know what ships have radar. Know the approximate range. You don't have to know the exact range, but know that American radar is about 10K. Russian radar, closer to 12. Know the times, because that's a big one. The Russian radar is shorter than the American. So, for 15 seconds, you just wiggle your butt, and then you're going to be okay. Whereas the American one, 30 seconds, that starts to get quite long if a lot of the team is shooting at you. And I'm just setting up for an ambush on this Myogi because I haven't done a ton of damage this game, but I felt I've done enough. I've got 2 solo caps, which are the only caps our team has, and I feel I really contributed. So you'll notice, kind of watching what this gray marker is doing, because I expect this Myogi to just crash speed. He doesn't... Well, he shouldn't just drive straight at the same speed. You can see, not even paying attention to me. So I'm just going to drive in behind him. And the reason I'm going in behind is I want to force him the longest possible traverse time on those turrets should he choose to try to come after me. And it looks like they're starting to come around. So I'm slowing up, I've got smoke going, my torpedoes just miss, but by the time he fires, I eat 3,000 damage, but I'm concealed. I've got more torpedoes. Unfortunately, right overhead, I've got a set of planes. So this one's not going to be too good for me. And that's just another thing you've always got to be considering. What could detect these torpedoes beforehand? A good CV pilot is going to put their planes always between their fleet and where they think destroyers are for early torpedo detection. Because if they're not actively engaging something, those things are for spotting. So you can see the Myogi starting to weave. I'm just using my guns. I have no reason to come charging out of this smoke. Things are nice and safe in here. We're capping. That torpedo's actually looking like I might get contact. So trying to wear him down before it touches, if it's going to, and it does. There's 7,000 more damage. And this one's going to be a win. And a pretty decent one at that. Almost 40,000 damage now. Tier 5, yeah, it's not spectacular. You can definitely do more with a couple lucky suicide runs on battleships because, 45,000 hit points apiece. But as far as just conservative, smart gameplay goes, I'm calling this a win. 2 kills, 44,000 damage, and we've got every single cap. You can see Goomba complaining a bit about being too slow, and that's definitely one of the Nikolai's downsides, but that ship is just a blast. If you haven't tried it and you enjoy battleships, might be worth picking up if you can get it. I was lucky enough to get it out of one of the chests. And a quick look at the post-game stats. You can see almost 300,000 credits, 6,500 experience. I got a devastating strike, 44,000 damage, 3 PEDs, 40 gunshell hits, and just a well-played game, I feel. Top of the team, 1436, not the highest base experience, but in a game like this where your team just rolls over the enemy, you're never going to get the crazy 3,000 base XP games because you just don't have enough targets to shoot at. You can see even the kills are pretty evenly spread amongst our team. And when I go into the detailed report, you can see where most of my damage comes from. 15,000 to erase that Dene, 20,000 in the Myogi, shooting in the 1 torpedo, and some flooding actually, it turns out, 7,500, so he clearly repaired something at one point. And then that 7,200 to the Kamikaze. And out of this game, the 2 moves I felt that made the biggest difference to me are my read on that Dene, just knowing to turn off nice and early so that I don't get spotted, or if I do, it's for the least amount of time possible, and then how I played the enemy destroyer. Too many people want to get into that locked in, rudder shift, carousel around each other thing where you just throw torpedoes and both die. Playing it a little smarter, using a edge of land detection, some tricky rudder shifting back and forth to throw their torpedoes off while they're at longer range, is definitely going to work better in the long run. You're going to have good games where you can get in close and do a ton of damage and die. That's not smart gameplay because you're out of the game. You can't affect the remainder. And one of my big kind of things that I always strive to do is just keep myself alive as long as possible. Even if you only have 50 hit points, if your guns still work, you can do damage. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this helps those of you maybe struggling a bit with kind of the destroyer gameplay as you're starting to move up in the tiers. At least learn some of the things I focus on and am thinking about when I'm driving destroyers. If you liked the video, consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribing to the channel. If you've got another ship that you're just kind of not sure how to play, I'm more than willing to put a video up of it if I've got it. And I've got pretty much every ship up to tier 9 and about half the tier 10s now. The exception being aircraft carriers. I'm not a good aircraft carrier captain. I'm up to tier 7. I still play them occasionally, but don't come to me looking for advice because I don't have it on them. If you have a replay you want to submit, I've been getting lots of them. Thank you guys for that. Qckslvrslash@gmail.com. I promise you guys I have been recording them and I've got a backlog of videos, which is great. I've learned from past mistakes. I'm not letting the files sit until a patch comes and makes them unusable. Anyways, I hope you all had a good one. I'm Qckslvrslash. I'll have another one for you guys later.